All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Michelle D. Clark, and I'm just a small town girl with big time dreams who God has shown his grace and his mercy, and he has definitely saved me from some life threatening things. You all, thank you so much for sticking with me through some of these technical difficulties that I was having. Hopefully, you guys were able to jump onto this broadcast because I ended up having to end the last one. But definitely, hashtag replay is for real if you were not able to follow me over, right? But at any rate, just wonderful. I see some eyeballs showing up right now. So go ahead and identify yourself. If you have not already logged on with StreamYard, then please identify yourself so that way when you make comments that I can give you your proper shout out. So, all right, everyone. Again, my name is Michelle D. Clark, and today we are having our Tuesday Talks with Miss Clark, LMSW at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So again, thank you all so much for tuning in. And tonight we have a special show. I know, right? I know everybody's like, okay, Michelle, you said it every time. Of course I do, because it's Tuesday Talks with Miss Clark. And tonight we have a special show because not only because it's Tuesday, but also because this month is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So yes, that's why I know some people are like, okay, why is she not wearing like yellow or white or blue? I know those aren't my colors, right? So some of them might wonder why is she wearing pink? That is why. So yes, so we are honoring Breast Cancer Awareness Month with sporting our pink today. So and actually, I'll get into that later. But this is how the format runs. So for those of you all who are new to the show, welcome, and for those of you all who are repeat supporters, welcome back. And so our show at the top of the hour, we go ahead and welcome everybody to the show. And let's see, it says, I'm here. Hey, Sandrina Garcia is in the house. Hello, young lady. So good to see you. Yes, and we had a hallelujah good time on Sunday together, excuse me, on Saturday together. And so at the top of the hour, we say welcome to everyone. And then after that, I go into some either fun facts or some interesting facts about our topic. And then I go into our actual topic, and then we do a rapid fire AMA. And no, that's not against against medical advice, or it's not American Music Awards. It is Ask Miss Clark Anything. So that is your opportunity to give me some rapid fires on what you would like to know. All righty, so everybody, so let's go ahead and get some shout outs in there. Oh, by the way, I don't know this past oh yes. So I was just reading some of the comments. So okay, you all know that I don't have like an engineer who gets to read the comments from the backside. It is me doing a solopreneur doing all this on my own, right? So sometimes I pause for station identification in order to a look at the comments, but also I think I told you guys, I don't know, for about the past month or so, I have been kind of plagued with this dryness in my throat and raspiness a little bit in my voice. So every now and again, I'm going to stop to take a drink of water, like now. So when that happens, you all, I want you to play along with me and pretend like you're hearing some sort of elevator music. So it would sound something like da, 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 da. And when I get done, it goes da. Okay, so pretend like that's going on right now. Watch a quick sip. All right, cool beans. And that's also a good station identification for everybody that if you have not drinking any water today, if you have not drank any water today, then you definitely want to make sure that you get your water in because you need to stay hydrated, right? So make sure that you are staying hydrated. And that's just not for today. That's not just for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. That is ongoing as long as you want to stay on this earth, right? So, all right, everybody. So let's get into some facts that I pulled up. It's gonna be 2.5 seconds. So what I do on the back end, just so you guys know, is I actually split my screen so then I can see the fun facts that I have laid out for you guys today. So in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, I figured it would be apropos to come up with some stats, if you will, about breast cancer and something that I found was very interesting. So now I went to a couple of different sites and pulled some things together. Now, this one site I saw, which was called MANA, MANA, which is the Medical Association, or excuse me, Medical Associates of Northwest Arkansas. So, yes, shout out to Arkansas if you are in the house. Shout out to Arkansas. So, they had 10 interesting facts that they featured on their site that talked about breast cancer. So I know a lot of times, so this probably will not be that surprising to many of us. But let me just go ahead and spit out the facts and then we'll go ahead and talk about it. But breast cancer occurs almost entirely in women. And I mean, it didn't come as a shock to me for that. But what some people don't realize is that, so when it says occurs almost entirely in women, means that then it does not happen entirely in women. So I know a lot of times we talk about, women and breast cancer, women and breast cancer, women and breast cancer. But men also can get breast cancer because there is tissue in that area that, and cells in that area that can mutate or what have you and become cancerous. So it's not just something that we have a monopoly on women. Men can get it too. But yes, entirely, almost entirely. And as a matter of fact, they went on to state that 99% of breast cancer cases occur in women. Wow. So 99%, you all. So I guess you might say that is a monopoly, if you will, because monopoly just means, I guess, the lion's share. But yeah, so that would be us women. So definitely, and we'll get into some other things down there. But throughout, I will just continuously say to everyone, please, 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 make sure that you get your annual exams. And if you are not of age, which usually is 40 and above, but if it runs in your family, and again, we'll talk about this in a minute, if it runs in your family, make sure that you are getting yourself checked out and talk to your doctors and say, hey, even though I'm under 40, I have it in my family. I want to get checked out. All right. Next one. It talks about hundreds of thousands of women will be diagnosed with breast cancer. So now back in their stats in 2017, and this is the American Cancer Society, estimated that over 710,000 women will be diagnosed with invasive breast cancer in 2017. They talked about 63,410 of those new cases of non-invasive breast cancer. Now, I don't know about you guys. When I read that stat, I was like, okay, well, what about like more recent stats? Well, I wanted to know what was something newer. So what I found is in 2022, they stated that 287,850 new cases of invasive breast cancer will be diagnosed this year. So we're already through October, but of course you won't see the stats for this year until next year. But I thought that was interesting about how the numbers have increased from 2017 to now. And it also talked about the 51,000 new cases of ductal carcinoma in situ will be diagnosed. Now, I'll get into that in my story, but that was my cancer, was ductal carcinoma. So 43,250 women will die from breast cancer. So again, this is our break for station identification, or I guess we call it the when you do the broadcast, and just let people know, please, please, please make sure to get yourself checked. Get those exams and do self-exams as well. We'll talk about that as well. So it talked about how breast cancer is the second leading cause of cancer-related death. So talk about breast cancer is the second leading cause of cancer death among women. And it talked about lung cancer being number one. So lung cancer being number one. Number 4, over 3 million breast cancer survivors. So there are over 3 million breast cancer survivors in the U.S. So this is United States stats, right? So early detection, again, let's pull that out there. Early detection is key. It greatly, greatly, greatly increases the survival rates in cancer. Early detection, it says within the 5 years, a survival rate for breast cancer is nearly 100%. That's huge. That is absolutely huge. So early detection is key. It talks about number 5, that risk of breast cancer increases with age, right? So it talks about how a woman's risk for developing breast cancer increases as we get older. So that's all the more reason why, if you're over 40, then make sure to get those. And I don't know, the stat may have changed as to when they are strongly recommending and suggesting and putting the charts out there for women to go get ourselves examined. But definitely, I would say when you start hitting that 40 mark and up, if you have not already gotten it, please do so. Do yourself and your family a huge favor by getting yourself checked out. All right. It also talked about the chances of developing breast cancer. It talked about 12% of women. That's 1 in 8. 1 in 8. 1 in 8 women, 12%, develop breast cancer. Now, the lifetime breast cancer risk for men is 1 in 1,000. 1 in 8, 1 in 1,000. So women, 99% breast cancer, women, 1 in 8, 12% have a chance of developing it. So please, I'll say this again. I'm going to say this almost at everyone. Please get yourself checked out, right? Family history also increases your risk. So I talked a little bit about that. So it talks about that a woman's risk almost doubles if her mother or sister or daughter has breast cancer. So you can also go to either the website with MANA, MANA, or you can go to American Breast Cancer Society and go there and take a cancer risk quiz. So if you are in doubt, quiz it out, right? So go ahead and take that quiz. You can also, because I'm a woman too, right? We can decrease our risk of developing breast cancer. Now, we can't eliminate it, right? We can't prevent it, but we can definitely do things that can decrease the likelihood of us getting breast cancer. Of course, with our diet and exercise, right? Healthier lifestyle. Of course, talk about other kinds of things that women do or people can do that can negatively impact the health in general. So if we decrease those things, then we can also decrease the risk for breast cancer. Okay. All right. Number 9, symptoms for everyone is not the same. So warning signs, they have some general ones, but they vary greatly. So you just can't assume that you're cancer free if you don't have any symptoms. I'm going to say that again for the people in the back who might not have been listening, or somebody who might have stopped to go to the bathroom, or maybe cooking something on the stove and had to run and go turn it off. So just because you don't have any signs or symptoms of breast cancer or any kind of cancer does not mean that you are cancer free. It's because you don't have those typical signs. So please make sure that we get screened, do the exams, and go to our doctors and make sure that they are a part of this routine. Number 10, mammograms save lives. Now, I jokingly call them mammograms because they like smash us, right? Women, we know how that is. And if you haven't gotten one, talk to an older sibling or talk to your mom or granny or somebody, and they will let you know how uncomfortable they are. And but I tell you one thing, way more comfortable than having cancer. So that little 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, 1 minute, whatever it may be, when you add it all up together of discomfort with a mammogram is definitely much, much better than having the discomfort and the possibility of dying with breast cancer. Ask me how I know. Okay. So make sure, and it does say starting at 40. I forgot about that. So it does say starting at 40, screening does start at 40. Again, some of these stats are a little bit older, so I don't know about the newer ones, but 40 is a standard, right? So make sure to go to get screened. Now, I found this interesting because I was wondering to myself, okay, like what causes it? So we can't stop it, we can't prevent it, we can decrease it, but what causes it? And they don't know. They don't know what causes it. They don't know exactly what causes us to develop breast cancer. It's really scary because if we could put if we could put a finger on it, that could help us to say, okay, well, we just won't do that, or we just won't eat that, or we just won't engage in that kind of activity or whatever. Or know that if we do, then we're increasing the likelihood of us of contracting or developing it. But they did talk about how there are some genetic factors that are involved and how the genes, but they don't know why the genes mutate. They don't know why they mutate and become cancerous. They have no idea. But they talked about 1 in 10 breast cancers, like 10%, are linked with known abnormal genes that are passed on or inherited from parents. So that was in there. But I just thought it was very interesting that all these years later, now when I say interesting, like this, when you go, all these years later, that nobody knows why. Nobody knows why. I don't know. But I found that very interesting. Okay, so you all. So that is our stats or fun facts or interesting facts, if you will, because I don't know how fun it was, but definitely interesting facts for our topic today, which is about breast cancer. So, welcome, welcome. So, let's take a break for station identification and go ahead and put your name in the chat. If you want me to give you a proper shout out, then please go ahead and identify yourselves, and then we can do so. So, I'm going to take a quick water break. So if you guys, and I'm not going anywhere. So you guys can just, again, if you're tuning in, whenever I take a water break, then I just tell people to just kind of imagine having that elevator music, if you will. So da 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 da. Sorry, that kind of right. And at the end, da. So hold on a second while I take a quick water break. Alrighty. Thank you all so much for indulging me in that. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to take today to walk down my journey with breast cancer. So yes, I am a breast cancer survivor, you all. So yes. All right. I see Miss Sherelle D. Mims is in the house, everyone. So yay. Welcome, welcome to our show. Tuesday Talks with Ms. Clark. LMSW at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, some people might say, what is LMSW? That is my license in Master's Social Work. So, yes, I'm a social worker at the master's level, and I am licensed. So, for you all who don't know, I've been licensed so long, I didn't even have to take the test. I got grandfathered in. So, yeah, that's quite some time. So, yeah, been in the field for over 20 years. So, I know a little bit of something too, right? But at any rate, and I am the mindset management coach for professional moms and who, through my company, Lift a Nation, which is the place where we are empowering women to live inspired, free, and transformed. So, with that, one of my transformations is my recovery with breast cancer. So, just giving you guys a little bit of a background. So, I was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer in 2015. Now, in 2014, I actually had gone in because I felt something weird. So let's talk about like the early detection, if you will, or me doing some self examinations. So I felt this vibrating sensation, you all, in my right breast. And it was like, what is this? Now, I'm not one of the well endowed women up top here. So I'm a part of that itty bitty committee. And so, us women, we joke, some of us joke about that, right? You all know what kind of committee that is. So at any rate, that committee, and so I'm not the kind of person who would put a cell phone up there, or back in the day, a pager. But at any rate, that was just to kind of give you guys a gist. That's what it felt like. So it felt like there was some sort of apparatus or a machinery or a device that was in there that was sending vibrating sensations. It was on the right side. And so I foo-fooed it for some months because, you get busy, you get doing things. I had children. I was going through a divorce at the time, and it was just a lot of things that was going on. And so I said, well, maybe I'll go and maybe not. I did my examinations. Now, I'm very cystic in that area, meaning I have a lot of cysts that were throughout my body. I had a cyst on my left ovaries that I had to take off. I had cysts on both sides of my breast that had to be extracted. So it wasn't uncustomary for me to feel some lumps. I don't recall, because that was back in 2014. I don't recall feeling any lumps per se, but I do recall that I said, well, let me just take my tail in because I don't want to foo-foo it. My grandma had breast cancer. I don't know what stage. In families, we don't talk about that sometimes. We don't talk about that. I just recall, this was back in the 80s. I just recall her. So I was a little girl around that time. So I recall her getting a mastectomy, and I recall it being her left side. And I recall that she used to wear, she used to have a regular bra, and she would like either sew in herself, or she would, what do you call it? Not paperclip. The not bobby pins, the needles, the pins, and she would pin it into her bra, a cushion. And so at any rate, I just remember that. But we never really talked about her having cancer, and breast cancer in particular. And so I said, well, let me go ahead in, because I know my grandma did have cancer. And actually, her cancer did come back. It came in colon. But at any rate, went in and they did a biopsy. And I was supposed to go back in. So at the time, they said I had calcification clusters, is what they called it. Calcification clusters. And so I was supposed to go back in, as a matter of fact, but I was not able to because that same year, prior to me going back in for my follow-up appointment, I was stricken with 2 strokes in that October. Befittingly enough, in Breast Cancer Awareness Month, I fell ill to 2 strokes back to back, October 18th and October 20th of 2014. And it was 6 weeks after my divorce finalized. I was under a lot of stress, you all. And so I didn't go in until the next year, later that year, like maybe August-ish, somewhere around in there. And August, September, somewhere around in there. And so when I went back in, they stated that it had mutated from calcification clusters to stage 2 breast cancer. So I went for a second opinion because that's what they say you're supposed to do, go for a second opinion. Because at the time, they did say that I needed to have a mastectomy, and they were willing to do bilateral just for preventive. So basically, getting rid of both of the girls, if you will. And I said, well, let me do a second opinion and see. And that was, I went to U of M for my second opinion, go blue. And they did recommend as well that I had to get a mastectomy. And I asked for nipple sparing because I had actually was in contact with a young lady. A friend of mine put me in contact with a young lady who was diagnosed with breast cancer and had gone through mastectomy, and she did do bilateral. And they were able to do nipple sparing, which means they were able to save her nipples, and they like sew them inside of her after all is said and done, in another part of her body while she was going through her um, treatments and things of that nature. And then they were able to reattach them once she was done. Well, in my situation, unfortunately, they said because of how close the cancer was to my nipple, that they could not do that. So they had to just take everything, all the tissue. They could not leave any tissue behind. So they took all the tissue out of my breast. And so at that point, I had to also go through radiation therapy. And I recall that initially it wasn't painful. Like, you don't, at the time of radiation therapy, you don't feel the radiation, right? It's not like when they and they have it where it is specific to the body. So it's not the whole body, it's just that specific region that they are radiating, if you will. And so I recall, though, as the weeks passed, then I saw the change in my body in that area. I can liken it to when you see speckles on, I don't know, I was going to say like on bread, if you will, but like speckles. So my body became speckled, almost looking like a cheetah, if you will, or a leopard print. And then after that, I also, as it progressed, then that area almost looked like, I don't know if you've ever seen a hot dog that was on a grill too long and it turned blackened, and then it started to, and if this is becoming too graphic, please let me know, or if you need to leave out and come back, please let me know. But I really do want to let you guys know my journey, but I won't get too graphic. But I do just want to say that at that point, then it did look like a hot dog where that was burned, and it started to separate, and was blackened in that area. And my skin actually did shed. So I saw the shedding of my skin, and particularly when I would take showers. And for me, let's talk about the emotional side of that. The emotional side of that, I don't know if you can ever be prepared for that. Seeing the body change, seeing that. So I already had, can I be very transparent with you all? If I could be very transparent with you all, put a 1 in the chat, put a heart in the chat, send some love, something like that. Because I really want to have some transparency with you all here about the emotions that I was going through. Okay, great. So at the time, I already had some insecurities, y'all. Thank you, thank you. I see some more hearts coming in the chat here. I I already had some insecurities about the size of my breast. You know how women are so hypersexualized, and particularly our breasts and our buttocks, those areas. And absolutely, you know, and yes, emotions are real. And so I always already felt a little insecure about the size. And then having to have one of them removed. And of course it would happen to be the size that was bigger, because women, we're not symmetric, right? We know that there's some asymmetry in our bodies, and there's one side that's bigger than the other for the most part, right? And so it happened to be the bigger side, and it was like, okay, come on, what's going on? Come on, Murphy's law. What are we doing here? Y'all know who Murphy is, right? Whatever can go wrong will go wrong at the worst possible time. And that's what was happening. It was like, what is going on, Murphy? So at any rate, so I was feeling even more insecure, but I also felt inadequate as a woman. Yeah, I was feeling inadequate as a woman, if you will. Like, what, who am I? Putting on my clothes, they don't feel the same, they don't fit the same. And taking a shower and feeling that void there, like feeling, FEEL, feeling that void in there. Looking in the mirror at myself, putting on lotion, laying in the bed. And let's not even talk about like the sensation um, when something rubbed against it, or the feeling of the clothes. And as a matter of fact, you all, the outfit I'm wearing right now is one of the outfits that I would wear when I was going for my radiation therapy. And so feeling the clothes against my body. So I have on a tank top under here. So I used to wear a tank top and then have this zip up because it was easier to get in and out of when I had to be radiated. And at the time, I don't know if you guys remember Periscope, but I used to go on Periscope and I used to talk about my journey. And there were many nights that I just wondered, why me, God? Why me? And the pain, physically, the pain, emotionally, it was so draining sometimes. And having to have someone to take care of you. My mom had to fly in town, my sister, both of them helped me with the kids and helped me with me. Because when I had the mastectomy, I couldn't do anything. I was like bedridden, and I was on strong pain medications where, I mean, I'd take them jokers and I was out. So, and part of it, when you take let me just put it like this. I understood how people can get addicted to pain medications. I understood because physically, it taking the pain away, you don't feel that aching, that burning sensation, that just relentless pain. And then emotionally, especially in the beginning before tolerance sets in, right? And it knocking you out, and it's like an escape away from whatever it is that's happening, whatever the trauma is or the tragedy is in your life, that you literally are taken away. So I get it. I understand. But I didn't want that to be my story. I wouldn't allow that to be my story. So I only took them when I really, really needed it. But nonetheless, it still knocked me out, right? And so I had to have somebody else to care for me and also care for my children. And so being somebody who was, independent, and now having to have somebody care for me, talk about talk about a paradigm shift. Talk about a mindset shift, y'all. Right? It was something different. A lot of self-talk happening. I had to do a lot of self-talk. I had to listen to a lot of personal development. listening to audios, listening to things to uplift my spirit, getting back into the word more frequently, listening, at the time, there was no virtual church for my church. So I just missed church, you know, because, COVID hadn't hit none of that stuff. And at that time, we didn't have that virtual option. So I was just at home and, watching Joel Osteen sometimes. Shout out to Joel Osteen. Hey, hey. But, it was tough times. And so the recovery process was not just physically, but it was also emotionally, mentally taxing. And then having to get out of bed and move. Motions create emotions. Excuse me one second. I have to take a quick break here. So getting out of the bed, y'all, was helpful in my journey. When I say getting up, just like walking, like when as soon as you have the surgeries, they always tell you guys, okay, you got to get up, and then you blow into that little thing to make sure your lungs are clear. You have to walk up and down the hallway, even though you're like, oh, I feel horrible. Why you guys make me do this? And then I have the little post with me and I'm walking with that. Well, you have to do the same thing when you go home. You have to get up and you have to do your laps and then get back in the bed. So I would do that. But motion creates emotions. And so it was helpful. It was really helpful. It helped me to shift my mind because I was able to shift my environment, if you will. And so on with the journey, you all. So after the radiation therapy, after I saw my skin changing, after the void of it not being there, the sensitivity happening there, um, the repair, the work, putting in the work of recovery and leaning on others, allowing myself to be, allowing myself to be vulnerable and including people in on my journey. I felt uplifted when I went on to Periscope and telling people about my journey because I never knew who was listening, who was watching, and who was connecting with me, just like right now. So I loved sharing my journey. I felt purposeful. I felt like everything that was happening to me was not happening just for me. It was happening through me to be able to help someone else. So it was bigger than me. So if you're writing down, and I don't know if you are, but if you're jotting down some strategies, some mindset shifting strategies that can help you to get out of whatever situation you're in, and particularly if you have any kind of run-ins with cancer, breast cancer in particular, because this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, these are some strategies that I utilize that help to pull me out of that, I'm going to just call it darkness, pull me out of that depression, sadness, irritability. Because y'all, depression doesn't just come in sadness. You can be irritable or grumpy or angry or anhedonic, meaning that just things you used to like to do, you don't like doing those anymore. And of course, then there are the crying spells. Easily frustrated, loss of appetite or overeating, weight loss, weight gain, loss of hair, all of those things. Any of those things could be signs and symptoms of depression coming on. And so these are some strategies that I utilize in order to pull me out of that dark spell, that darkness. Confiding in someone, whether it be a loved one, a spouse, significant other. My mom was in town, sister, cousin, whomever, pastor, priest, father, whomever. Of course, talking to God. Should go without saying. And that's my life. I'm not trying to put it on anybody else. But also getting professional help. I had an oncology social worker. So someone who was in social work, but their specialty was in cancer, helping cancer patients through the recovery, emotionally, mentally. Shout out to Hina Decide. Thank you so much. I love you, Hina. I hope you're able to catch this broadcast. So, but having a professional that I could sit down and talk with and talk about my journey, talk about when I was feeling down, talk about when I was feeling good, all of those things. But to share it with someone who knew what I was going through and who could guide me professionally. It meant so much. So having that professional care, paramount. Having support systems, which could include the people I mentioned already. Having that self-talk. I wear a rubber band on my wrist, y'all. Actually, it was a recent challenge. Wear a rubber band. And at the time, being a mental health therapist, I was already very well aware of self-talk, how utilizing self-talk is important because we have something that's called negative automatic thoughts that can plague us. So we have those negative automatic thoughts. That means that we have thoughts that automatically pop into our minds that are negative. There's nothing you can do about it. You can't stop it. Well, that's what I mean when I say nothing you do about it. I mean, you can't stop it from happening. That's why they're called automatic. But what you can do is decide how long you're going to sit in it. How long are you going to sit with it? How long are you going to befriend it? How long are you going to hang out with it? How long are you going to allow it to become with you, hang out with you, be a part of who you are? Or are you going to do something called thought replacements, which is what I had to do. So I replaced that thought. The negative thought came. I acknowledge it. Okay, yeah, I see you. And now I'm going to replace it with something else. So when I had a negative thought that popped in my mind, then I would replace it with a more positive. So the question we have to ask ourselves is, one, is it true? So the negative thought, is it true? Maybe, may not be. Sometimes it's subjective. It's not objective. We can't say it's true or false. But if it's true, well, let's start with the false. If it's false, then okay, then let's tell ourselves the truth. If it's true, the next question we have to ask ourselves is it helpful or unhelpful? So is the thought that we're having going to help us to feel better, going to help us to succeed, going to help us to move forward, going to help us to progress? Is it helpful? If it is not, now let's insert a more helpful thought to move us through, to help us transition out of that trauma or tragedy to live more triumphantly. So those are some of the self-talk strategies that we can utilize. Now there's something that's called stacking. So we can start with a self-talk, but additionally, we can also add a layer onto that. So I talked about movement. So sometimes when you have that negative thought, yes, acknowledge it, replace it, but also replace your environment. Move. Get up and move. Move your body or shift, even shifting your seat. I have a seat that turn around the seat. Do the hokey pokey, turn yourself around, right? That's another thing that we can do is move. Get up and walk. If you can't walk, because I know not everybody is ambulatory, but if you are bedridden and you can turn over, do that. Imagery. So if you have something that you can put in your mind, whether it is a physical picture that you can look at, or if it's closing your eyes and allowing whatever that safe place, if you will, that place where you feel secure, go there. Listen to music. Replace those thoughts. Have a place of safety, and it doesn't have to be anywhere you've ever visited before. It can be totally imaginary. That's the brilliant thing about the mind. Movement, any of those things. And of course, continuously filling our minds with positive words, affirmations, having an attitude of gratitude. All of these things helps move us forward. These are all the things, y'all, that I was doing to get myself out of that rut, to get unstuck. So with that, I want to leave some time because it is 8:46 Eastern Standard Time. So if you all want to go into our rapid fire AMA, please do so. If you have any questions for me, whether it's about my journey or of course, I am the mindset management coach for professional moms. So if you have any question along those lines, please feel free to put them in the chat. I see a comment here. Negative thoughts will come. However, you must cast it down with positive words of who you are. Absolutely, 100%. So let me show y'all that. So not on my own. Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. Absolutely, Sherelle. 100% spot on. That's what we have to do. We have to affirm who we are and whose we are. So important to affirm that because whatever we think we are, we are. Whatever we think we are, we are. The man who thinks he can and the man who thinks he can't, they're both right. They're both correct. So when we are embarking on this journey called life, there are going to be some things that a hiccup in our hookup. There's going to be something that's going to come in our pathways that's either going to be a stumbling block or we can use it as a stepping stone. But how we choose to look at it will determine what it is. And then what are we going to do about it? How are we going to progress? How are we going to move forward? So, yes. So, please feel free to put some questions in the chat if you have them, and we can do some rapid fire AMA, Ask Ms. Clark anything. Other than that, I will continue to talk about my journey of healing inside and out. So, I just want to also talk about how the impact that I saw on the people around me. I know how difficult it was for my mom. Her mom had breast cancer. It skipped her. And then I had breast cancer. And FYI, the same breast, the left side that my grandma had breast cancer in, y'all. I forgot to tell you guys, it was my left side. I think I said left side. Yeah, I did. But remember, it was the right side that I felt the vibrating sensation in. Dun, dun, dun. The plot thickens, right? So what was that all about? I don't know. But it was the left side that was actually the one that was stricken. Who knows? Maybe it was the right side just saying, Will Robinson, danger, danger, and just alerting me. Who knows? But I am just so happy and grateful today that I'm here to be able to share the story and that I had some sort of warning sign, that I didn't foo-foo, that I did take action. I did something about it, y'all. So that's the thing. We have to take action. Even if we don't know what it is or if it's real or whatever, doesn't matter. Take action. It's better to be safe than sorry. It's better to go in and know that you are safe than to not go in and not know and then it to be on the other hand. And when I say safe, I just mean be in the know. You want to be in the know. Okay, I just saw somebody else join us. So again, if you can go ahead and take time to put yourself in the chat and I give you a proper shout out as we go along. But at any rate, and again, for y'all, hashtag replay is real. So I do check out the comments. I do read them in retro. So please make sure if you're watching this, welcome. And if you are a repeat supporter, watch this on hashtag replay, then welcome back. So again, every Tuesday, 8 p.m., we will be here with our Tuesday talks with Ms. Clark, Lmsw, at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's the name of the whole show. So make sure that you are here next week, same place, same time. Now, for those of you, oh yes, let me put this up here. So, Miss Sherelle, thank you so much. I am affirmations. So when we talk about affirmations, because some people, I take for granted sometimes because I'm used to doing affirmations, and when I'm coaching women, I'm used to talking about affirmations. So I forget that some people may not even know what affirmations are. Basically, it's affirming the positive, right? So affirming something, is positive, right? So affirming something about yourself, and when we use I am statements, I am so happy and grateful today. I am. When we use I am statements, I am beautiful. I am talented. I am therapeutic, right? I am grateful. I am ecstatic. I am wonderfully made. I am successful. When we say I am, it just opens up the universe. See, when we say I will be or I want to be, that's future tense. So when we speak something out there and we say it in the future tense, we are shifting the atmosphere to think future. So if you say you want something, the atmosphere says pretend like I dream of Jeannie. I dream of Jeannie. Pretend that I'm her, right? And she does that, okay? And okay, great. Then you'll want it. I want to be rich. Okay, then you'll forever want it. If that's your affirmation, wish granted. I will be successful. Okay, will be, future. Got a quick joke about this one, you all. So there's a man that goes into a pub or a bar or a restaurant, whatever you want to call it, right? He goes in and he sees on the wall, and on the wall it says that tomorrow, free hamburger with your order, right? Free hamburger. So he's like, oh great, I'll get a chance to get a free hamburger. So I'll come back tomorrow. So he came in tomorrow, and he came in and he looked at the sign, and it said, okay, tomorrow, free burger with your meal. He's like, okay. So he left out and he came back in the next day and he looked at the sign. It said the same thing. And he's like, I don't understand. I need to speak to manager. I need to speak to manager. So the guy, yeah, okay, I'll get the manager. Manager comes out. He's like, Mr. Manager, I don't understand the sign. I came in the day before yesterday and the sign said tomorrow. I came in yesterday and the sign said tomorrow. I came in today and the sign says tomorrow. When am I going to be able to get my free burger with my meal? He says tomorrow. So the moral of the story is tomorrow's never going to come, because tomorrow's always tomorrow. Tomorrow's always tomorrow. Today will not be tomorrow. Tomorrow's tomorrow. And then yesterday's history. So when we talk about affirmations in the present tense, the now, we're calling it forth now. And then we just have to walk into it. But it's here now. Let me give you all a good example. So if you ever, I know some people won't admit it, but oh no, not my house. But if you were to open up your blinds or open a blind at an establishment that may not be yours, you open up the blinds and it's a sunny day and you see those dust particles. You see the dust particles, right? So does that mean that the dust particles weren't there when the blinds weren't open? Spoiler alert, they were there. You just could not see them. So they were there the whole time. So that's the same thing with casting light on our future. Casting light on our future. We cast the light and we're able to see now. So we want to talk about now. What's happening now? So there's things that's happening around us now. Our future is actually here now. It's waiting for us to walk into it now. So we have to call those things forth now. Are you guys getting the point? I am. And continue to do the work. I am. So yes, I am affirmations. So thank you so much, Miss Sherelle, for that. And thank you so much. She says this great show tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in and for the compliment, of course. We appreciate that. So if you all either know someone or if you have had a walk with cancer, meaning if you have been on this journey that I've been on with breast cancer, and you need someone to talk to professionally, you need some mind setting, some shifting happening, I can help you. If you're a professional mom, I can help you. That's what I do. And I would love for, oh, I love that. I am a masterpiece. I love that. Yes. And so along those lines, I would love to hear your affirmations. So please put them in the chat, #replay. Put them in the chat. Make sure that you put your affirmations in here, because it's something about not only telling ourselves, but also writing it down, something about putting it out there and telling someone else who cares about you and loves you and wants to see you do well, right? But something about being able to put it out there and have 2 or 3 or more touch and agree, right? So yes, I would love to hear your affirmations as well. Make sure you put those in the chat. And if you would love to, I would want to give you all a free gift. Please cash in on this free gift or share it with somebody else. So like this post, share this post if you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching it on LinkedIn, and of course, subscribe, click the little bell if you're watching this on YouTube. And I think you can put like a thumbs up or a heart or something like that on YouTube. But make sure you do that and share it with somebody else. Click the little bell so you know we have new content that drops. But make sure that you go to bit.ly, that's bit.ly/mindset with Michelle. That's capital MIND, then capital WITH, and capital MICHELE. That's one L Michelle because you don't need two, and one does the same. So the first letter for each of those are capitalized. I'll have it down here in the chat as well. So that way, once we in the broadcast, I'll put it in there. And additionally, you can go to my website, www.micheledclark.com. Again, that's MICHELEDCLARK.com. And you go over the contact section, and you can also book your free 20-minute conversation exploration with me on that website and at the bit.ly. You can also advance the page on the contact section, and you can send me a message and put in there, you can put in there hashtag cancer awareness if that is something that you want to contact me with, or you can just put professional mom. You can put that in there as well. And it doesn't mean that you have to have little ones running around. If you are a mom in your, in your 50s and you have grown kids, that's fine. You're a professional mom. All right. So, with that, please reach out to me and connect with me because I would love to connect with you too. And I would love to also read those affirmations in the comment section. So please put those in there. All right, everybody, I'm looking at the time. We are wrapping up. It is 8:57 Eastern Standard Time. And again, I hope everybody was able to make the transition over. I'll put a link because we did have to start over the broadcast, and I had to start a new broadcast because we had some technical difficulties that as I looked into it, it was only on my end. No one could see it, but the screen was actually like doing this flash thing. So sometimes, hint, hint, you all, sometimes when we are about to embark upon greatness, that we will encounter some setbacks. We will encounter some stumbling blocks that are now actually stepping stones. So it is just a temporary setback for a setup for a comeback. Thank you, Les Brown, for that. I love it when he says that. So make sure that we view it as such and continue to persevere so that you can overcome it, because I promise you, the bigger the test, the bigger the testimony. And when it seems like everything is just falling just apart around you, understand everything is just falling into place for you. Falling into place for you. And the more it seems like things are falling apart, that just means that the bigger the glory of things falling into place for you. It means you're right there at that 1 yard line, about to make it across. That's when things really start to get going. So when things you're like, oh my goodness, keep moving, keep going. You're right there. You're right, like 3 feet from gold. 3 feet from gold, striking gold. I was listening to Thinking Grow Rich today, y'all. So I love you all to life. Connect with me. I love to connect with you. I love to hear about your affirmations. I love to hear about what's going on in your life. You know, if you have a cancer walk with, meaning that if you've had any kind of cancer or know someone who has, please make sure that you let me know here if you'd like to. And you can hit me on the back end by shooting me a message through my website, www.micheledclark.com. One Ella Michelle. You don't need two and one is the same, and go to the contact section. So I would love to hear from you all. That is our show for this evening. So thank you all so much. Hey, what's going on? Miss Lakeisha in the house. I'm telling you, we had a hallelujah good time on Saturday. It was so wonderful seeing you. And wonderful seeing you in print here today. So yes. Make sure that you all like this, share this, and stay tuned for the next episode. Meet us here in the place. Meet my face in the place next week, Tuesday, for Tuesday Talks with Miss Clark. LMSW, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's the name of the whole show. And I look forward to seeing you all. Again, my name is Michelle D. Clark. I am the mindset management coach for professional moms with Lift Nation, my company where we are empowering women to live inspired, free, and transformed. Or as my daughter would say, transform. Take care. God bless. See you next Tuesday.